thoughts or questions or?
More about the equipment you carried when you were in China. It was Daytrip, wasn't it?
Well, I was in a hotel, which was a short 10-minute taxi ride away from the farmline, so it wasn't that far. But I would take a backpack with. I had two Mamiya 7 cameras and a 60 and 80 mm lens, and a tripod. And that was it, pretty much. The capabilities. Trying to keep it as simple as possible, really. But I didn't bring in digital or that was it. So it was kind of, it felt like when I had the film at hand and I was going through Doha Airport and I started putting it through the scanner, I thought, well, if it all gets fogged, it all gets fogged. There's nothing you can do about it. But it's kind of one of those things you have to sort of accept.
When you take your nighttime and evening shots, how do you meter those? Do you spot meter and then work it out? Or?
Yeah, good question. I do spot meter, and I kind of know from experience as well that it's sort of, you'll get, so for instance, like that was probably about 4 minutes, because you can see that's the blimp at the top. That's one of the news blimps, and it's moved very slowly, but it has moved. It's kind of registered on the picture. So that was about 4 minutes as well. But I do use spot metering and kind of check it against physical metering. So I kind of use a couple of different types of metering. But it's a case of knowing which thing to meter off. If it looks odd, try something else. Try the mid-tone.
And do you work out like the reciprocity value?
Actually, I don't, because I mean, to be honest, around 4 minutes, film is absolutely fine. If you're doing half an hour, that probably looks quite different. But for 4 minutes, something like that, it seems to be well within its capabilities. I don't tend to go beyond that, really. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to have that ability to do that, and certainly you can't do that on a 5D in under 30 seconds. It's very different thing.
How much editing do you do after taking the pictures? You know, I'm just trying to work out what the balance of, you know, what you're doing on the ground there when you're thinking and taking your time.
Oh, quite a lot. I mean, often because you'll take things and it won't be quite the way you think. It's, I mean, it's that thing about photography not being necessarily what you put into it. Things can kind of come out. So there are always a couple of surprises, things that kind of become more relevant as once you've kind of done the editing process. I mean, it's a two-part process. It's the, you know, you do an edit in a way when you go out and look at things, and then you kind of do another edit when you come back and sit down and start scanning them and see what works. But it's having to work photographically as well,
Yeah.
which is often quite different to how you might imagine. Anybody else got any questions or anything I'd like to ask?
When you were in China, how did you decide whether to do like candid portraits or like stage ones?
Good question. I think that was partly down to what was available. I think, again, that comes down to editing as much as anything. You take pictures and you don't always know how they're going to come out. So the picture of the man in the take back to this one. I didn't think I got that at all. So, because I thought you'd moved. So I really kind of find written off in my head. So I think that, and so I just scanned it on the off chance that it, and I was really quite surprised that it would come out. Even just looking at it on the light box, I thought, oh, this works. But of course it has, and it's I suppose because it was a kind of stand there portrait, there wasn't very much time. It was only about literally 15 seconds to kind of try and get as many frames as possible in the space you have. And that was the middle one. So the end one, yes, he hadn't, but the middle one, he was absolutely fine. And it was So yeah, I mean, I suppose it is a stage portrait, but in a way, there's got to be quite candid about its expression. So it's kind of a bit of both. I don't think there are any hard and fast rules. I mean, if it works in terms of the feel of the project or the style of the story you're doing. I mean, that's the thing about photography now. I think it's sort of become much more blurred in its distinctions, and you'll see kind of fine art photographers doing things which are documentary style, but they wouldn't call it that, and you see documentary photographers doing things in a fine art style, but they probably wouldn't call it that either. So it's kind of, things are much more fluid. It's, I think, trust your instincts, really.
Did you have a translator?
No, I didn't. I did when I went to Indonesia, but I didn't when I went to China. It seems a bit strange looking back on it. I wrote a phrase book, and, and I didn't speak any Mandarin, and I seemed to get by absolutely fine, really. I mean, there was a woman who was doing a tour of this place who I paid for a moving, but she wasn't that helpful, really. She'd left by the time I took that. It was remarkably straightforward. I mean, I learned a few phrases. So I had a photocopy of Bill Brandt's coal mine picture, the one with him at home eating with a broken face, and I had the Chinese phrase for that, which is Yingguan Wei Hua, which is English coal mine. So I sort of go and talk to various people and they didn't like it. But there was a picture which I've not shown you, which is a portrait of coal miner and his family, which is much more straightforward. And I really wanted to take this picture of my coal miner at home. And this is on the second trip. And it was about me trying to find somebody who was willing to let me photograph in their house, and that was really difficult. I couldn't work out why. But it turned out that there was something about pride in portraying people as being poor and those kind of things. And so I did find somebody in the end, and I showed a picture of Bill Brandt's mine and told the phrase, and she seemed to understand what I was talking about. And so she said, "Oh, my husband is back from his shift. He's having his dinner." So I went in, and he's more than happy to be photographed. So I photographed him and his family. But I'd spoken to her sister, who spoke some English on the phone. And then she phoned up just as I was in the middle of loading the third roll of the film, and the message was I had to go. So there'd obviously been somebody watching the house, which was a bit slightly alarming moment, because it's one of those things that he's actually kind of keeping tabs on what we're doing, but they were quite concerned with them.
So you didn't have release forms or sort of translated?
Maybe I should, I don't know, but I mean, do people who go to the Lausanne Temple have release forms? Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of, you try and be as far as possible.
But so, were you working on your own at this point when you were in China? You didn't went on your own? So these pictures in the factory, that was kind of with the enthusiasts being there as well?
Well, that was, they told me about the place, told me where to go, which was useful. And we kind of arrived as a group, but they left and I stayed. So I kind of, because I hadn't got what I wanted, and that's how I got that picture. So it was kind of pretty much. So I stayed, and then the Chinese were an enthusiast arrived, and that was really quite peculiar, because I hadn't expected that at all. That was something I really bargained for, and their general attitude. So no, just hung around until I thought I had something. But I mean, I think the second trip was probably less successful than the first, but the story wouldn't have been completed without the second trip, because it just added, it filled in some of those blank spaces in between pictures, and it was, as I said, quite a different trip. But it meant that it was more of a kind of a rounded story, more of a complete thing, and it was definitely worth doing.
And did you write a story to accompany it?
No, I didn't. The FT wrote a story. So they insisted that one of their journalists wrote a story. But I could have done. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're doing anything like this, do take notes and try to treat it quite seriously about sort of, but you can sort of make it quite personal in terms of the narrative and the style, and because your picture is probably going to be personal as well, so unless you're doing straight documentary work. But I think one of the things I really wanted to do with this was to try and do something that other people weren't doing. Because I mean that's the thing about photography that's central to the market, especially now, more so now than ever, because you've got everybody who's got, you've got an iPhone as a photographer, and it's something about trying to aim for a picture with a different look and a different feel and a different sort of different purpose. So I was trying to think about galleries and exhibitions. I had thought about a book, but I don't think there's enough there for a book, really, unless you did something else other places, which you could do, I suppose. But I think that's enough on one thing. But it took about a year to do the whole thing, between actually taking the pictures and getting them published. Anything else? Hello.
How did you get into photography?
I got into photography because I did a fine art degree. I did a painting degree and painting and sculpture. I was always interested in making things. And I made art for a bit when I left university and kind of got a bit also quite sure what to do about how to make a living, that sort of age-old thing about how to make a living, so I decided to go into media. So I got into journalism, and so I've been working for the BBC for the last 14 years, so doing radio journalism for the World Service, so I'm kind of mostly based here, but also working for like India and so on, and the States and countries. And I've got into photography latterly because I wanted to do something visual, yeah, but I wanted it to be not a combination of journalism and painting, but certainly informed by the fine art that I did and the journalism that I have been doing. But I don't want to see myself as a photojournalist. I want to see myself as a photographer. That's it. I want to be taking pictures which interest me and hopefully interest other people. That's kind of my aim. And it's kind of trying to set things within a set of different narratives. You've got fine art thing, and you've got documentary, and sometimes these things overlap and sometimes they don't, and it's quite difficult to sort of strike a balance between the two, because magazines all want different things to galleries, but taking a step back and using things like film, which is more anachronistic, might give you a bit of an edge. Anybody else?
Do you need to talk to the local authority or any organisation?
I don't know. I didn't realise this. I kind of just arrived and I went on a tourist visa, and it seemed to be absolutely fine. Partly because I'd known from looking at various other websites before, people who are these role enthusiasts have gone in, and I just thought, well, it hasn't been commissioned. It's not a commissioned story, it's a self-funded story. And I kind of thought, well, if anybody does got me, it's because they seem to kind of accept that from various people. The weird thing about them is they've been going into China since the mid-70s and getting arrested at railway stations taking photographs like that. But they kind of, over time, they've become known as a group of people, and I thought, well, I just thought that's not clever. I did not have any samples there. Thanks. Anything else?
Relevant.
Yeah.
How do you balance your photography and your personal projects with your day job?
It's really because Because the thing I find the hardest is you're kind of pushed and pulled in different directions. You want to sort of, I mean, you can organise chunks of time, but I think the job it is quite demanding because you're doing kind of quite complex subjects often, and they're quite long days and often starting early in the morning or finishing late in the evening, so I'm trying to balance that. But I mean, I try and do one thing a year, if possible. I mean, it sounds a bit strange to say it that way, but if you're kind of working away at something, you can kind of keep it going. But it just means that things get a bit erratic. And you kind of, once you've made an investment in it, you've got to try and see it through to the end. But it is quite hard.
And did you read the story before it was published in the FT?
How do you mean?
You said that a journal story from
Oh, I see. Had I written a story? I'd written a...
No, did you read the story? You said someone else had written the story for the FT?
Yes, somebody else had written it, but only committing through me. So I was the source for the story.
All right, okay.
So they'd seen the pictures, got the pictures, and then I part of that lengthy phone interview pictures and through Unity, and that kind of that bit of copy kind of stayed with the story for a little bit. But then so when you kind of went to different countries use their own writers to.
So it wasn't a complete surprise.
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, because I really hadn't seen anybody do it at all, and then about a year, 18 months after it was published, I saw somebody being at the same place about a year previously, and they were completely different, which is kind of interesting. But they were shot on digital and kind of just looked very different, kind of. It was a different kind of feel. I suppose the thing about shooting all this stuff is it sort of felt a bit slower, and I quite like that, trying to sort of slow down the picture taking. And it was like, I think we often take too many pictures, so almost we used to take fewer pictures because we try and consider the things we're taking.
Do you keep your careers as a journalist and a photographer completely separate, or is there some overlap?
Well, there is overlap. I'm doing a documentary. I'm making a documentary radio for, which is going to come out this summer. And the documentary is about women in computing in the 1950s. And so we're doing interviews. Martha Lane Fox is going to present the program. She's presenting the program. So she's doing the interviews. But I'm photographing the women, and that will hopefully be going in to Stella magazine at some point. But what I want to try and do with that is play around with the lighting, and because it's quite a cerebral subject, the idea of computing and maths and those kind of things, which you can get across on radio quite well. I mean, radio is quite interesting because even though it doesn't involve pictures, it's kind of quite thinking pictures. So what I wanted to do is light them in a particular way, and then use collected photographs and then time and bits of machinery and stuff from the 1950s. So it's going to be that kind of story, but probably sometime after August. But I mean, I think it's quite interesting because it's the first time I've done something which is where they remain quite distinct, separate things. But there's definite overlap, and sort of meant that I can sort of. I mean, I think since I did that, I mean, it feels like things have moved on quite a lot. The sort of plug-in and so on, and the ability. I mean, iPhones. I didn't have an iPhone then, but it would have been nice to have done all those kind of iPhone kind of things that you do so easily now, because a really good mobile phone reception is coal mine. Amazing. So you could sort of easily blog things or do a sort of ongoing diary or something. I don't know, you could sort of turn it into something much more multimedia, and that's something that interests me. And so I suppose for the future what I'd like to try and do is keep the fine arty kind of photography stuff going. So essentially thinking about gallery books, but also thinking about how that could work as a magazine strategy, and then thinking about how do you promote it, and the promotion bit being anything from postcards to blogs or short films, that kind of thing, and thinking about using other types of media to lift the photographic thing. But they can exist in separate ways, have them one promoting the other. So for instance, the traffic jam thing, that could even be a game. You could go a games design, which is sort of, because it's all about probability and chance and those kind of things. So you can sort of work out something which would sort of, you've got a trail of things which would take back to your website and other things, and other bits of information. But try and have it so they're not overlapping too much, but they kind of touch. That's part of the game plan. But hope it will work. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.